New York Knicks star guard Jalen Brunson is breaking his silence on a growing and deeply troubling issue: the wave of death threats and violent messages directed at professional athletes. It's a topic that's become increasingly hard to ignore in the modern sports world, where the line between fandom and obsession has been dangerously blurred. Brunson's comments came after New York Giants kicker Graham Gano publicly revealed that he's been receiving threatening and hateful messages every single week, many of them from angry bettors furious about gambling losses. The admission struck a chord across the sports community, and Brunson decided it was time to address it head on. The Knicks All-Star didn't mince words. "It's definitely crossed a line a couple of times. Actually, I'd say more than a couple," Brunson said. "People have said some pretty messed up shit." His tone was calm but serious. You could tell this wasn't just about a few mean tweets. For Brunson, this was about the dark side of sports culture, one that's become all too common for players in the social media era. Brunson admitted that he's personally faced similar threats throughout his career, messages that go far beyond criticism about his performance on the court. "It's tough. I wouldn't wish that on anybody," he continued. "I don't understand why people think it's okay to press send when something is that hateful." Behind those words is the reality that many athletes live with daily: constant exposure to online hate, harassment, and even real-life threats. For players who are already under immense pressure to perform, that added emotional strain can be overwhelming. Brunson said that while fans often treat sports as entertainment, they sometimes forget that athletes are real people with families, emotions, and mental health battles. "People forget that we're human," he explained. "They see you as a name on a jersey, not as a person who goes home and has to deal with the weight of those words." The Knicks guard also opened up about how he's learned to manage that negativity, and something he says didn't come easily. "I try not to let the world see it because people don't really care about your problems," Brunson said. "But when my family is around, that's when I allow myself to be vulnerable." Brunson credits his parents, Rick and Sandra Brunson, for teaching him how to handle adversity from an early age. His father, a former NBA player and now an assistant coach, played a key role in helping Jalen channel frustration into focus. "I have a very close circle I turn to when I start feeling doubts or anxiety," Brunson explained. "It's hard to see that kind of hate, but the way I was raised, I try to turn it into something positive. That's a credit to my parents." For Brunson, that mindset has become a form of protection, a shield against a world that can often be cruel and unforgiving. He says he's learned to draw strength from those closest to him rather than from the approval of strangers online. His comments highlight a broader issue across professional sports: the emotional toll that comes with constant scrutiny. Athletes are expected to perform flawlessly, represent their teams, and entertain millions, all while enduring an endless cycle of judgment that can quickly turn toxic. Sports psychologists have long warned about the dangers of this kind of pressure, especially in the age of sports betting and social media, where a missed shot or a bad game can trigger an avalanche of hate from gamblers who've lost money. For Brunson, though, it's not just about protecting his peace. It's also about setting an example for others in the league. "You can't control what people say," he said, "but you can control how you respond to it. And for me, that means not giving hate the power to define who I am." And while Brunson continues to face these off-court challenges, his play on the floor remains nothing short of elite. On November 5th at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks dismantled the Minnesota Timberwolves in a 137-114 blowout victory. Brunson delivered a complete performance with 23 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds, showcasing his leadership and composure. It was the kind of game that reminded fans why Brunson has quickly become the heart and soul of the Knicks: steady, focused, and unshaken, no matter what's happening around him. His backcourt control and court vision continue to set the tone for New York's offense, and his growing chemistry with teammates like OG Anunoby, who led the team with 25 points that night, has been key to the Knicks' early season success. Under the guidance of head coach Mike Brown, the Knicks have found a new rhythm, one that balances disciplined defense with a faster, more fluid offensive approach. Brown's emphasis on player communication and trust has helped the team stay connected on and off the floor. With that win, New York improved to 5-3 on the season and remained undefeated at home, 5-0 at the Garden, one of the league's most iconic arenas. But Brunson's story goes beyond the box score. His ability to maintain focus while facing constant outside noise speaks volumes about his resilience, and about the mental strength required to play at the highest level in today's NBA. The Knicks' next challenge comes on November 9th when they host the Brooklyn Nets in another high-stakes matchup. It's a rivalry that always draws attention, not just because of the city pride at stake, but because it tests the Knicks' discipline and unity under pressure. For Brunson, it's another chance to prove what's become his defining message, that grace under fire is still possible even when the world is shouting from every direction. As the Knicks continue their push through the early season, one thing is clear: Jalen Brunson's leadership extends well beyond the court. In speaking out, he's not just defending himself, he's giving a voice to countless athletes who quietly endure the same kind of abuse. And while the threats and hate may persist, Brunson's message is unmistakable: you can't silence resilience. Knicks need Mike Brown to learn the garbage time lesson. Tom Thibodeau never did, because those late minutes still matter, maybe more than most realize. Mike Brown has already made it clear he's not Tom Thibodeau. The difference is evident in the way the Knicks play, the pace they keep, and the energy they bring. But there's one area where Brown still has something to prove: finding value in the moments that most fans tune out. The final few minutes of a decided game might not make headlines, but they can define what comes next. Under Brown, New York's offense looks freer, more dynamic, and far more modern. The Knicks are shooting threes at a historic rate, spacing the floor in ways that were unthinkable a year ago. Jalen Brunson is no longer glued to the ball. He's cutting, relocating, and challenging long-held ideas about his game. The rotation stretches deeper than it has in years. 5-out lineups are a regular feature. Mikal Bridges is active and engaged. Everyone seems to have the green light to grab a rebound and push the pace. The team moves the ball faster, with extra passes, quick decisions, and genuine rhythm. This is not Tom Thibodeau's Knicks anymore, but progress comes with consequences. The Knicks are now dealing with the fallout from years of neglecting their developmental pipeline. Tyler Kolek, drafted to be a high IQ guard off the bench, still looks like he's adjusting to the speed and physicality of the league. Ariel Hook-Porty, a promising big, remains raw. Pacome Dadiet, once seen as a sneaky upside pick, has barely seen the floor. These players aren't ready, and that's not entirely their fault. They've never been given the time or trust to get ready. It's easy for a win-now team to overlook the value of those garbage time minutes. Coaches and fans alike tend to see them as empty space, the closing act after the real work is done. But for developing players, those minutes are the classroom. They're the rare low-pressure moments to make mistakes, test instincts, and adjust to NBA speed without risking the outcome. The Knicks have already faced adversity early in the season: injuries to Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson, inconsistent stretches from Gershon Yabusele, and a lack of reliable playmaking off the bench. When those problems hit, New York didn't have young reinforcements ready to step up. That's the price of neglecting development. To Brown's credit, he's already shown more flexibility than his predecessor. When the Knicks put away the Minnesota Timberwolves, rookie Mohamed Diawara scored his first NBA basket, a milestone that mattered to him and symbolized something bigger for the team. Brown gave his young players a taste of action with 2:26 left in the fourth quarter. Diawara, Dadiet, and Hook-Porty all checked in, while Kolek had entered about a minute earlier. By Thibodeau's old standard, that's progress. Under Thibs, the starters probably would have finished the game regardless of the score. Brown at least recognized that the game was decided and opened the door for the kids. Still, he could have done it sooner. Those extra 3 or 4 minutes, meaningless to the box score, can mean everything to a rookie trying to find his rhythm. The data backs it up. According to PBP stats, the Knicks have played nearly 28% of their fourth quarter possessions this season with a lead of more than 15 points. That's real time that could be used to build something. Yet Kolek is the only young player who has logged more than 11 total minutes in those blowout scenarios. That's not enough for a team that needs to know what its young players can actually do. And make no mistake, they do need to know. The Knicks are approaching a tricky financial future. Their payroll is ballooning, extensions are coming due, and luxury tax implications are on the horizon. If they want to keep their window open, they'll have to hit on low-cost talent from within. Developing from the bottom of the roster isn't optional anymore. It's a necessity. You can't evaluate what you don't play. Practice only teaches so much. Until players feel the rhythm of an NBA game, the crowd noise, the speed, the spacing, their development remains hypothetical. Garbage time is where that learning begins. It's where coaches Coaches can test combinations, players can experiment, and future rotation pieces can start to take shape. No one is suggesting that Brown throw Daddiet or Kolek into tight fourth quarters, but New York is good enough to create comfortable leads on a regular basis. Those leads need to be used wisely. Instead of running out the clock with veterans, Brown should treat those final minutes like a mini lab, a controlled environment for experimentation and growth. If a lead starts to slip, he can always go back to his core group. That's the balance every good coach must strike. And yes, there will be growing pains. Some players will struggle, others will surprise, and a few might not make it at all. That's part of the process. Development isn't about guarantees, it's about discovery. Brown has brought energy, pace, and modern thinking to the Knicks. But to truly separate himself from the Thibodeau era, he has to embrace the developmental side too, because the next hidden gem, the next key role player or trade asset, might be sitting at the end of the bench right now, waiting for those final few minutes to prove he belongs. If Mike Brown can learn to treat garbage time as more than a formality, the Knicks could finally start building a foundation that lasts, one that doesn't just win games today, but prepares them to keep winning tomorrow. Pulling this off won't be easy for Dallas, but the buzz around the league suggests something big could be brewing. The Dallas Mavericks are in the middle of a major transition. Losing Luka Doncic was a blow that reshaped the franchise's identity. For years, the team revolved around Doncic's unique combination of playmaking and scoring. His departure left a void that no single player could immediately fill. Kyrie Irving, one of the NBA's most gifted guards, was expected to lead the way. However, his season-ending injury has forced the Mavericks to pivot quickly, handing Anthony Davis the responsibility of anchoring the team on both ends of the court. Davis, known for his dominance on defense and versatility on offense, has stepped into that role with determination. He's not just filling a gap, he's redefining the Mavericks' approach. Yet even with his leadership, the team's chemistry remains a work in progress. Rookie phenom Cooper Flagg, the highly touted top pick, is still learning how to coexist with established stars while adapting to the physical and mental demands of the NBA. With Dallas struggling to find consistency, speculation has intensified that the Mavericks might consider moving Davis as part of a broader roster retooling, and the New York Knicks, always aggressive when a superstar becomes available, have reportedly emerged as a top destination. Anthony Davis in a Knicks uniform would be a seismic shift for the Eastern Conference. The 8-time All-Star is one of the most complete players in the league, a dominant two-way force capable of playing either power forward or center. He's averaging 20.8 points, 10.2 rebounds, 1.6 steals, and 1.2 blocks per game while shooting an efficient 52% from the field. Those numbers don't just tell the story of a talented player, they reflect a game changer who can completely alter a team's ceiling. Imagine a front court featuring Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mitchell Robinson. Towns provides elite floor spacing and offensive versatility, while Robinson is an anchor on the boards and a proven rim protector. Adding Davis into that mix would make New York's interior rotation one of the most intimidating in the NBA. A blend of power, skill, and defensive IQ rarely seen in one team, but Davis's impact goes far beyond the box score. His ability to switch defensively, protect the rim, and orchestrate plays from the post would immediately elevate the Knicks' defensive rating. Offensively, his mid-range game and finishing touch around the basket would relieve pressure from the team's guards and open up new options for the offense. If the trade were to happen, the Knicks' identity would evolve overnight. Pairing Davis with McCall, Bridges, and Towns would give New York one of the most balanced cores in the league, a combination of scoring, length, and defensive versatility. For head coach Mike Brown, who has emphasized ball movement and defensive discipline, Davis would be the ultimate weapon. He can anchor small ball lineups or dominate in traditional sets, giving New York flexibility against any matchup. His presence would allow players like Jalen Brunson to thrive even more, as opposing defenses would be forced to collapse inside, freeing up perimeter shooters and secondary scorers. While Mitchell Robinson's minutes might dip slightly, his energy off the bench could become a vital part of the rotation. The Knicks' depth has often been the difference between good and great teams, and adding Davis could push them firmly into contender territory. On the Mavericks side, trading Davis isn't a decision to take lightly. He's still one of the league's elite big men when healthy. And that's precisely what makes this rumored deal so intriguing. The potential return reportedly includes OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and a 2026 first-round pick. Anunoby is the kind of player every coach wants, a two-way wing who can defend multiple positions and knock down shots consistently. He's averaging 18.1 points, 6 rebounds, and 2.4 steals this season, numbers that highlight his impact on both ends of the floor. Hart, on the other hand, brings hustle, leadership, and versatility, with 7.9 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 3.6 assists per game. He's the kind of glue guy who makes teams better by doing the dirty work, defending, rebounding, and moving without the ball. The 2026 first-round pick, reportedly top 8 protected, adds a layer of long-term value to the package. For a team trying to retool around Cooper Flagg and Kyrie Irving, those assets could become critical in reshaping Dallas's future. Flagg is expected to be the franchise cornerstone, a young forward with superstar potential who's already shown flashes of greatness. Surrounding him with versatile defenders and experienced veterans like Anunoby and Hart could accelerate the Mavericks' rebuild while maintaining competitiveness in the short term. Still, moving on from Anthony Davis would be a bold and risky move. The Mavericks understand what they have: a top 10 player when healthy, capable of dominating games on both ends of the floor. At 32, Davis still has several high-impact seasons left if managed properly. Dallas might prefer to see how the trio of Davis, Irving, and Flagg performs together before breaking it apart. The combination of veteran experience and young talent could become one of the most balanced lineups in the league once Irving returns from injury. However, the injury concern remains the elephant in the room. Davis has missed 3 straight games due to a calf issue, reigniting conversations about his durability, a narrative that has followed him for much of his career. For teams like the Knicks, that's the only red flag in an otherwise dream acquisition. Whether this trade ever materializes or not, the idea of Anthony Davis in New York is enough to send shockwaves through the league. The Knicks are on the cusp of becoming true contenders, and adding a superstar of Davis's caliber could be the final piece of the puzzle. For Dallas, it's a delicate balance, choosing between maintaining star power or investing in a long-term rebuild built around youth and flexibility. Either way, the trade chatter isn't slowing down. The NBA landscape could be one move away from a massive shakeup, and once again, all eyes are on Madison Square Garden.